Welcome back, guys. So, you know what's going on. We're gonna try to get this guy ready for hopefully King of Hammers in February, and we've got a kind of short time. I started ordering stuff prior to Thanksgiving, but you know the state of the world, so it's just been taking a long time. Quick shout out to Nine Line for sending out the shirt. But secondly, what I appreciate is the fact that even though we're in the holiday season and stuff, things are starting to show up faster than I anticipated, which is good. And some are being held back more than anticipated. But so you guys know what this is. It's going to be a continued build series until this thing is up and ready to go and completely built and ready, hopefully for me to head out to King of Hammers in February. Now today we've got another thing in store. We've been doing videos on what I thought was kind of like the most important things to start with. And I guess there's the big boy, I gotta show him too. But depending on your rig, you'll know that I'll tell you a bunch of different things I think are important. Obviously lockers before lights is the number one thing. And then gears before gear. And those are two slogans that I like live by. So what you'll learn from this channel is I'm more about function than looks. And so the unfortunate thing is a lot of the function stuff is some of the long lead items for this guy. That being said, you saw the last video, we did the MRP exhaust. I've been super happy with it. It sounds really good, it's done really well. As far as anybody asking about, you know, did it do anything mile per gallon wise? About, you know, a mile per gallon more, that's it. Nothing more, but it's definitely more peppy and more responsive on the low end because it's a little less restrictive. Obviously, more exhaust you can get out, the more air you can pull in quicker, more efficient. So that was good. This stuff is along the same lines. So obviously I'm converting this into like a one rig capable overland vehicle. So obviously it'll have the Ursa Minor camper on top up there. And at the same time, I'll need a cook space. So that's where I lead into this. I reached out to Marco from Overland X and I asked him, I said, hey, you've got a lot of experience with lots of different camp tables and tailgate tables. Which one do you feel is the best? Not the one that looks the coolest, that, you know, somebody gives you discounts for, nothing like that. Which one do you think functions the best long-term? Obviously I'm no cook like he is, but I didn't want something I've had several in the past that weren't built real well. They kind of fall apart and stuff. They're more of a gimmick than they are true table space. So he advised me to do the Outback Adventure table. He said, hands down, it will last longer than it lasted longer than any of the other tables he's tried. And the fit and finish is really nice. I went and looked at it and sure enough it is. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna do the Outback Adventure table for this guy. And then one thing that I do not like on most vehicles is most vehicles in the off-road community don't come with hood struts. So reached out to IEG and we got a set of hood struts for this guy. So we're gonna get those installed today. And then after that, that's about it. I'm trying to keep these videos short to let you guys see what the product is and the functionality of it. And so without further ado, let's get ripping. Oh, thanks for joining us. Okay, guys. I figure we'll just rip through these real quick. We're gonna do some more work on the motor, and that's why I wanted to go ahead and get the hood struts. That and just the Jeep, the Gladiator, neither had them, and it always drove me crazy to have to use that little rod. So this is just a function thing, right? It's super simple. They're fairly cheap. I want to say it's, you know, $100 or so, and it really does make your life a lot easier when you're doing a lot of work. Now you guys know that we have a full lighting system plan for this thing, and there's gonna be some other things that we do in the interior of the motor compartment, and so we'll end up doing a cold air intake to make it more efficient, and then we're gonna be doing lots of wiring for lights and stuff. And so having that rod down in the middle of the hood area is just a pain in the butt. And this is simple, guys. Hey, literally comes with 2 hood struts and the brackets. So we'll throw that in really quickly, and it'll make my life a lot easier. That being said, let's get this guy open so we can at least kind of start taking a look at it. I'll get him out of here. And then from there, I'll let you see what it looks like before, and then we'll go ahead and put it on the truck, right? Because again, we're really trying to get this done in a means to, I would really like to be at King of Hammers this year and not be waiting for a vehicle again. Now that we've got Brocklanders, I would like to go ahead and start getting it done. And see, I can already tell just looking at it. This is what Marco was telling me about just the quality. I don't think there's anything else left in there. I think it's just bracket or just styrofoam. Yeah, styrofoam, no brackets, no bolts, no nuts. Here it is. Here's the kitty, and it's nice. It's really nice. And what I'll tell you guys, what I do notice, just picking it up, is it's solid. So this is how it'll operate. And nice right here, it's stamped. All this is rolled and pressed material. It says Trailgater right there. Super simple. You pull these tabs, it releases. And there it is. Super solid construction. If you haven't seen one of these or touched them, if you go to another, if you end up going on Expo, go by and put your hands on these, because now that I see it and feel it, I understand why. This is an incredible little piece of kit right here, because it's made really well. Anyway, let's get crushing on, right? Okay, this is a pretty easy install, like 15 minutes. So the first thing you're gonna need is you're gonna need an 8, you're gonna need a 10, and a 12. Open ends for sure. And then this is a 1/4 inch with a 13. So what you're gonna do is back here, right below this hinge strut right here, you'll see a wire and an actual cable clip going into a bracket. Pop that loose, and we'll start by taking out that 13mm bolt, and then from there, we'll take the hinge and slip it in there, reset it again, put the outside bolt in through it, across it to pull it together, and then we'll run this 13 back into it. And once we've got it aligned and run down, then we'll go ahead and make them tight and tighten on the outside bolt, and then replace the cable clip for the this factory wiring harness now. Let's get going. So it's a pain in the butt to get in here, but when you do, it's not too bad. That guy just doesn't want to come. Now, they say to use these. I would say use some fender pliers. Hold on one quick. So if you have them, I would select this instead. It's a factory trim tool. It's made for pulling out trim clips, and made it that much easier. Now onto the 13. So it's kind of a turd getting back in here because it's a little small area. So I'm gonna say pull that, just get it loose, and then use your fingers to pull it. Now remember, the whole time we're not gonna adjust anything on the hood. All we're doing is we're gonna do it step by step. We're gonna take this 13 mil out, and then I'll show you what we do with the bracket. And there's gonna be some type of thread locker, so it's gonna obviously not be super easy on your fingers, but just take your time. Yeah. I may also get a factory. Yeah, that Loctite is really holding. And they're all gonna be different. Everybody's gonna be different depending on who put the Loctite in the bolt. So I'm gonna get a 13 short because I still need a little. Well, that's not awesome. Let me get in there, guys, real close for you. Now you can see that bolt, okay? So that's what we're working on, and that's the actual housing where it goes. Let me get it out, and I'm gonna leave the camera on this kind of zoom so that you can see exactly what I do with the bracket itself. So let's get this guy out of here real quick. And obviously you're still zoomed in real far, but I need it to be so you can actually see what's going on. Because due to the fact that Brocklanders is this dark green, it really creates a large dark cavity back here, and then you can't kind of see what's going on. So, and as you can see by the battery, where that bracket is, I'll show you here in a second, but the bracket itself is black, so it makes it even harder to see that against this dark green. So maybe by doing this zoom technique, you'll be able to see a little bit better. And then once I get it in, I'll pull it out and show you. So, you're zoomed in right here, so I'll show you what it looks like. So here it is. The ball is gonna be on the outside, and it's gonna face the front of the truck. So all you do is simply lay it back in there, and then take your 13, and get your 13 through the hole of it, and then back into the body of the Bronco. Okay, and I've got it sitting in there, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the 10 and I'm gonna run it through there, and I'll back you up a little bit. So let me back it up a little bit here. So now, you can kind of see how it works. And this 10 now is gonna thread right through the outside where the old clip was for the wiring loom. It's gonna go through that hole, and the actual bracket provided from AIG is threaded at that point. So that's your alignment bolt. So then you go ahead and put it where you want it, get it finger tight, and then go back in with your 13 and tighten it back down. Now that I've got them aligned, I'm gonna go ahead and run this 13 all the way in and tighten it. And then once that's done, then I'll move to the 10. And be patient, it's a long-winded bolt with a little stroke, so it takes a minute, but you'll get it. And then from factory, it didn't have a whole lot of beef, so I'm just gonna give it a couple pushes and call it good. So now, this stuff is out of the way, and I'm gonna take, I believe it's the 10. It is. And I'm gonna go ahead and secure what I told you was the locating bolt that threads through. I'm gonna go ahead and secure that now. And you're not trying to, put a whole lot on it, but now that's secure. Now, if I wouldn't have broken my clip, you could put it back in. They leave an actual spot for it on the bracket, but now it's exposed to where it needs to be, okay? And so all I did was take the factory wiring harness and tuck it behind where the hinge sets down, okay? Let's move on. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work on the hood portion, okay? And so from here, from your actual hood bracket moving up, there's 2 holes, 1, 2. We're gonna go to the second hole. Now this has a rotating flat clip on the back and a flat washer. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna loosen that up a little bit, okay? And what you're doing is you're gonna create a little gap between there and the 2 washers. So now you can see the difference. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna count to 1, 2, and I'm gonna slide it in there at an angle. And then I'm gonna pull down while I'm screwing in at the same time, if that makes sense. So I'm screwing in, but I'm creating pressure downward force, pulling it. Now, when I get it to about snug, walk it all the way up to the very end of the hole. So when you're finished, before you do the final tightening, you'll feel it. If you pull up towards the front of the hood and twist, it's now at the front of that hole and locked in place. Now, what we're gonna do is, I believe this is a 10 again. So I'm gonna make sure it stays at the beginning, and it's the 12. So you take the 12 for that post, and you're gonna hold it up at the top, hoping that it stays in position, and it did. And then you're just gonna start to tighten. And now remember, I mean, this isn't a frame bolt, but you wanna get enough on it that it's secure and it crimps the two pieces together. Now this thing is solid, it's not going anywhere. Let's move on to the strut. Here's the strut. They are not side specific. So the first thing you do is, there's a retaining clip on it right there. We're gonna open that up, okay? And what that does is it creates a lock in there, and I'll focus on that here in a second. And then what it does is when you roll it back, it locks this pin around those balls. But you wanted to do it at both ends. You just roll it around and not lose it like I just lost mine. But it's pretty simple to find. So once you get them released, you simply start at the top. What shot I got here? So we're gonna go at the top. Well, I think it's, so just so you know, I just figured that out. So the body is gonna go towards the top of the vehicle, okay? But we're gonna want to have these installed. I don't know that you'd want it differently because it won't stay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide it out of place. We're then gonna slide it in, and we're gonna flip the clip. Now I can let go of it, okay? That made it a whole lot easier. From there, we're gonna pull this hood strut out for a second, and we're gonna lift up the hood, and that's how we're gonna locate this pin, okay? Now it's been located, and it's sitting where it needs to sit on the actual strut itself. Now we take this and we put it back in place. So let me find the pinhole, and then what we'll do is we'll lock it in. Not sure. And this is something I really can't show you guys because the holes are, you know, minuscule. So once I find it, I'll put it in place and roll it in. And it may even be on this backside. I'm not sure. Yeah, it is. So it's actually on this backside. So once you get in a position where you can see it, it'll slide right down and you just roll the clip over. Now let me draw that in so you can see it closer. So here, okay, now you can see that, and you can see the pin clip sitting at the bottom. Now if I roll it back around, you'll see how it opens up. It just pushes up into a hole like this, and then you just finger push it around, and that locks it in place, okay? Super simple. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and collect this stuff out of the way, and then I'm gonna go ahead and install the other side. I'm not sure that you need to see it again. I'm sure that was pretty self-explanatory, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. So for now, so this thing doesn't come down and have to support itself, I'm gonna put it on this, get the other side completed, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, guys, check this out. So this fast forward like 7 minutes, maybe. Anyway, it's done. And this is what's super nice about it. So working on everything, you guys know everything's a pain in the butt. That rod in the way is in your way every time you do it. And that's pretty much it, right? Like that's what we want. And again, you see it just locks it down, keeps pressure on it. Pull that, Find your clip, let it open. I mean, that's just so nice. That gets an A+. Let's get on the camp table. Okay, so with the Outback Adventure Table, the trail grader, this is a pretty extensive install. There's a lot of things you need to install in the door of the Bronco and such. And so the instructions are super good. Follow the instructions very closely. Right now, we're gonna throw a couple things together, get this prepped and ready to go back to the door area, and then we'll go back there. And I'll show you what it takes to take that door off and kind of some of the process. Okay guys, you now see how that stuff lays out. I just put the centerpiece in as an additional buffer. Remember, it's not a seal. People keep calling it a seal. It's not a seal. It's just to take up vibration. So you run that on real quick, and then really we come back here and I'll kind of show you what they do. And the reason why this is kind of a specific to Bronco install, and meaning that, I mean, each Bronco is specific. So when this door opens all the way it sets, the angle is going to be a little bit different. Depending on if you have a slight rake, if you have a lift, if you have heavy stuff in the back, it could tilt down. Well, in that tailgate table, they've got some different mounting screws that allow you to kind of rotate it so that when you do open it up, it's still a flat surface. So the first thing we'll do is we'll get this popped off. And remember, start from the bottom. That way when you pop it out, if you were to break one, the top ones would still be in if you had to put it back on and for some reason took it on the table. You'll also use these vent holes. So let's get that and we'll come right back to it. Okay, right there, guys, you can see I have everything kind of laid out. I've got a flathead, I've got a Phillips head screwdriver, I've got a 1/4-inch drive socket with an 11/32 driver on it. Then I've got a trim tool, and then of course I'm going to use an impact with a Phillips head on it to run the screws all the way in, but just to get them in the long stroke side of it. And then once I get close, I'll use the actual hand Phillips to pull it in. And then right there, those are the clips that we're going to use in the retaining wall, and I'll show you how to do it here. Let me get you guys turned around. Okay, pretty simple. We're gonna use these. The clips that go in here, this one's gonna come all the way to the side because there's a retaining wall right here, and it hits this bolt. And then this one's gonna be moved all the way to the far right. So let's get that done and keep on moving. Now that will be the black hardware. So, two black, so move it, not like that. Press it in, and then it will kind of pinch your finger. So if you want to use a flathead, you can. You don't have to. And then this one goes. There's like a retainer right here, and it hits. And so you basically want to go all the way over till you hit it. See, I've hit it now, and I can't go any farther. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and remove this. So I'm going to use my finger to pull this out first, and then that way we can go ahead and start popping it like that. And you give it a little Gitas, but not much. And then when you do, it comes out. Now you see why I said that, because these are all, if you can look at it that way, they're all formed in a manner they go that way. So if you pull on it this way, there's a good chance you're going to break them off. And these are just snap clips. So start from the bottom and it rolls out. And then we're going to add some push clips. So we're going to go here again, and these are all going to be centered. You're going to try to center them the best you can. Get them centered, centered, and then centered, and we'll kind of mark it like that. Your next two go right here. And you got to center those as well. Center them. And I mean, you're doing the best you can, right? So the next thing you do is they tell you to take this and make sure, you know, you got them in left and right. And it kind of, what it does is it seats it and kind of opens it up for the nuts or the actual screws that are going to go in there. And I think on this one, you'll be able to see how it kind of spreads them open. Okay, and that's all you're doing. You're just making kind of a pilot hole for the screw to enter. Okay? And I'm going through this fast, but I'm trying to do it in a manner where we can get it all in, because it is a pretty quick install. So at that point, what we're gonna do is these screws are gonna be what we drive into the door, okay? And see, they've got 2 set nuts and they're already set at the right height. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these and we're gonna run them in. And that's what your ratchet's for. I mean, it doesn't take long. Make sure they go in straight, right? Obviously, you're trying to, keep it as lined as you can, and it goes in really easy. Just make sure you're, staying in line with that. And I'm gonna question the 3/8. I think I grabbed the 3/8 instead of the 11/30 seconds. It's at 11:30 seconds, so let me go grab that. Okay, let me run them in real quick. And all you're gonna do is run them in and kind of snug it up. That's it. You're nothing more than that, guys, because you'll end up stripping out these. And they do send a couple spares, but we're not trying to do that. We're just trying to get it done right the first time. So kind of get it where you want it, snug it up. Because really, this is just to retain it. So now I'm going to move my tools, my knife, and this. And then what I've done previously is removed the actual bamboo portion of the table just to make it a little lighter. And then we're just going to do this. Set it on here. And you can see now how this is made to be adjustable. Because what you can see right here is that this is a single ear hole and this one's oblong, so that you can see we're going to need to move that. And I'm going to get a label, or I'll get a level. I've never seen somebody show you on a level, so you'll know what we're talking about and why. So, if you look at this now, and I'll move you guys so you can see it, but if you'll look at this now, right here, you'll see that I'm sitting on it, and look at this. So now, you can rotate the table, and unfortunately I can't do it this way with one hand on this side, so let me move. But, I can take that like that, and you see where it is, and so I want to level it, and I can rotate the table like this, however it needs to be done. Okay? And that's it. And so then, that's what sets the screws where you need to go into it, and that's the point we're at now. So let's go ahead and set those screws in, and continue doing what we're doing. So, now the biggest thing we're trying to do is keep it level, because obviously the last thing you want is to be working on some food or something and everything keeps sliding one way. Check it again. So right now it's showing me that this side's a little high. So I'm going to get a screw and a washer and my trusty Phillips, and I'm going to figure out in which one of these holes do I need to be in. And so what we're going to do, it would probably be easier to have a flashlight, to be honest. Let me grab one of this. That way, you're not soul searching. And if you're just worried about the table coming off, you can take these actual nylocks that come with these for these nuts and run them on there. That way, if for some reason it, or if you're worried about falling, it's at least secured. So now, I can see see where my holes are. And I can tell that's where I'm gonna need to be. There. The problem with these things these days, everything being aluminum, isn't it? Nothing sticks to anything. So, essentially, what I'm going to do is get this started somewhat. And now I know that that's my retention height. Because, that being said, the table is now level. So, when we go back to here, that's showing it high now. So, I think it's going to be honest, guys, the top hole on these sides is C. I think C is going to be the hole that we're going to need to be in. So what you do is you take it out, you lower it, get it where it wants to go, obviously. And then now that I'm in position, I can hold the level and the screw at the same time. I'm just going to run this thing quickly. Okay, so now we're level. And now it should be simple. They're all lined up. Now we just run screws in them to hold them. And then there's 6. 3 here, 3 there. Then that part of the table's held. Okay, one more thing. Let's check everything. We are level. Okay, so the next thing you're going to have is you're going to have this retainer. And this retainer is to hold the magnet tray, right? So this magnet tray goes across here and it's for the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out where we need to be. And I don't even know that we're going to need more than a couple. They send a couple spacers, these little black spacers. And I think probably 2 is going to be more than enough on each side. But we'll put it back up there and look. Now, the tray side, see, the raised side is out. Okay? So let's see, where's the hole right there? So that sits pretty flush. So especially in a scenario where I'll be able to take these nuts and run them right on, and it should work like a champ. Now, let's knock that out and we should be able to slide the actual covers on. We should be complete. So that's on there. Okay. And then just like everything else, I'm going to go put a level on this just to make sure it is what it's supposed to be, right? Because there is a lot of mobility in this thing. And I just want it to be, you know, where I'm not driven crazy by what it should or shouldn't be. Okay, so that's going to be it right there. And I'm not going to do this tight, guys. I mean, all it's doing is holding a magnetic knife tray that'll just hold utensils. So, you know, something like that's more than enough. The neat thing about it is, when you're going to mount this, they add these tabs for you because this thing would snap your little fingers. So just take the tabs, and we're going to separate on the ends and roll it top, and you're done. We are finished, guys. That's it. That's it. Look at that. How nice. Out cooking. Okay. Let's clean up. That concludes it, guys. Super happy. That wraps it up for this video. The table's done, the hood struts are done. It's what I picked to do this week. We love it. We've still got a huge pile right there. Remember, if you like Bronco content like this, I'd love for you to subscribe, comment below, but like this. Show YouTube that we want to see more Bronco content. Put Bronco content in the general discussion. YouTube still is having a problem with that because there's not a whole lot of people that do it. So do me a favor, smash the like button, and we'll basically just beat the algorithm. It can say whatever it wants about views and YouTube stuff. What we'll say is by liking, that's what we want to see, and that's what it'll suggest to you. So when you like, it'll suggest more stuff like that. So do me a favor, like it. Also do me a favor, if you want to support this kind of content, I've got a Patreon. Patreon.com/Maximum Overland. Other than that, I've got a link tree. All my stuff's in the description below. Furthermore, every week, this thing will be getting upgrades, multiple upgrades. Some are gonna be small, some are gonna be big. We did the hood upgrade, hood strut upgrades today, and the table. I will use that table for the next multiple years. The hood upgrade is gonna help me. Hood strut upgrade is gonna help me when I'm doing all the wiring and the lighting that's gonna go on this guy, which is gonna be in depth. Along with doing some of the internal engine upgrades that we're going to do as well, which will be in depth. So anyway, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you next week for some more Bronco sweet content.